that was weird. It struck me out of nowhere. Hey, everybody, welcome to Tavern Talks. Your wonderful host tonight. And tonight we bring another guest to the tavern. For those that are coming back from the new year, as you can see, we've updated the tavern. It looks awesome. Big shout out to our wonderful misfit, Alex, who did all of the new layouts for the overlay. Definitely a plus. New intros are coming soon. I'm being really slow about it. I apologize, but we will get there. I promise. We've got other things in the works, though. Let's get to the topics, though, because this is what we come here for, right? It's three people hanging out at a tavern talking about the one thing we all love, which is tabletops. So the way we start this every week is first, we're going to let you kind of tell us a quick glimpse of who you are. And then I'm going to ask you three questions. And then from there, we're going to run down some rabbit holes until we get to our new surprise, which is the monster attacks. So, Diana, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, I can't wait for the three questions. Can't wait for it to be like mother's maiden name, social security number, street you grew up on.
Absolutely, 100%. That's how I get with all those cons.
I'm gullible. Right? Hi, hello. I am Dinah Faye, also known as Dinah the Rose. I'm a tabletop gaming content creator and streamer. I'm partnered over on Twitch and YouTube, and I'm the one who was behind the massive viral DM screen forever ago. But beyond that, I post a lot talking about different things that you can do to make your TTRPGs more fun. Also got into Magic the Gathering recently, so I've been watering down my D&D content with how much money I've been spending.
Oh, goodness. You went down a new rabbit hole. They're dangerous.
Yeah, WotC got me again, those bastards.
Yeah. I mean, I can't say anything. I haven't picked up a Magic card since I was in high school. I did competitive Magic for high school. I did competitive Magic for high school and college. And then I stopped. And then I just picked up the new Bandai one. So I was like, crap, I picked up a new series to play with. So it's dangerous. It's not WotC, though. It is the new Gundam TTRPG.
Yeah.
So
that's awesome. Cool.
Yeah. Anyway, we're not here talking Gundam. That's tomorrow night with my buddy Beaker. But tonight, we are here to talk tabletop. First question I love to ask people, it kind of gives me an idea of how things work and where I need to direct my questions is, what was your first experience with tabletop?
Oh, man. It was a very... You know how people will joke about their campaigns dying due to scheduling after however many sessions? My first experience with tabletop games was a campaign that lasted about 2 weeks. And then I proceeded to not play anything for about 8 years. Okay. And then became a content creator for it. So the overall journey is real up and down. But I started back in high school about a decade ago now. And I started on the 2014 version of D&D, where a bunch of basically internet friends of mine, back before it was cool to have internet friends, back when it was dangerous to have internet friends, actually. But these guys were chill. Basically just came up to me one time on Discord. And they were like, hey, Dinah, you ever play Dungeons and Dragons? And I was like, I've never even heard of it. And they're like, it's okay. I'm going to send you a link to Critical Role. How about you just sit with that for a little bit, and then we'll show up in this call next week, and then we'll start playing. And I'm like, okay. They sent me a totally bootleg PDF of the player's handbook, and I was obsessed. I made my first character. Again, we didn't play for that long, but then it stuck with me so long afterwards that even after we stopped playing the campaign, I opened up Word documents, started working on Incarnate and over on Fantasy Name Generator, opening it every single day and building out my homebrew world for basically 10 years now, off and on. But
yeah, you can't do that consistently, or go crazy.
It was a while ago now, but now I'm in it.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. So. And that brings us to the second question, which to me definitely is something I'm curious about, is what grabbed you about tabletop that wasn't something that you were getting from any other media whatsoever?
Oh, man. I think just the ability to make your own decisions and have it be a realistic, almost life simulator. And don't get me wrong, I played a little bit of The Sims growing up, and I read a lot of Choose Your Own Adventure books. But there was nothing compared to what you can do in a TTRPG. And the fact that you have to unshackle yourself from what you're so used to when it comes to video games and things like that, right? In video games, you have invisible walls everywhere. You have certain dialogue interactions that you can use. You have certain spells that you can use in certain locations. In, TTRPGs, not just D&D, it's so limitless. I use this analogy all the time. If you have to get across, for example, a giant ravine that's in your path and you need to be on the other side of it, in a video game, you just kind of can't. You either have to walk in one direction or another along the crevasse until you find a way across naturally, or you just come back later on because clearly you weren't meant to be there. But in D&D, you could fly across. You could use a mold earth spell to make your own little bridge across. You could go back into the nearest town, spend 5 gold a day, hire a carpenter, and come back in 3 years in game time and have him build a bridge for you. Like, you can do so many different things that it strikes me as a really cool little fantasy life simulator with violence.
I love the way you put that too. You're like, or you could literally go build, hire a carpenter, go wait 3 years in game, and build a bridge. I think that's one thing people forget about in Dungeons and Dragons, because everybody wants to do things now, and it's like it can be a long form game, and that can be years, And I think that's a really cool idea that's actually an opportunity for people. Because some people want to slay the dragon. Other people just want to build a tavern and chill. And you can do both. And it's fantastic. So,
the downtime activities are really not well tapped, honestly. And a lot of players complain about like, oh, I never get to use downtime activities. And it's like, well, to be fair, you could just take some downtime. You could take a break. You can go on vacation and have a beach episode. Like, that's fully on you guys.
Yeah.
Let me know and I'll make it for you. But
super
don't blame
easy.
Me.
Yeah. If you're like, hey, I don't want any combat this round, I just want to role play and have a good time. Yeah, let's do it.
Right.
And that's crazy. We talk about that because it's something that I don't think is done right yet, but it's moving that way, because you've got the new Bastion idea in 2024, which seems interesting. But I don't think it's done right yet. Like, I still think there's something that has to be tweaked to it. I'm still working on that tweaks is. I have a secret project in the background where we're working that same type of item for a different game system, but I think that's going to work better, and it might move to D&D. Who knows? Can't talk about that though. It's under all secrets.
Yeah.
Lock and key. Yeah, all that fun stuff.
Well, so I have a question.
Go for
it. It's because I have most of the ones that are on your table, but what's your favorite epic encounter?
Ooh, okay. Oh, there's one coming down the pipeline that I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about yet. Someone came up to me and they're like, hey, we're doing, we want you to do a promoted video for us. We're coming out with our first ever Kickstarter. It's this cool little project. It's such and such. And the idea of it is so cool. I can't wait to talk about it, but I don't think I can for at least another month or two. I think I'm looking over here because this is my giant bookshelf of TTRPG stuff. A definite competitor is anything from Mana Project Studio for D&D 5e. I'm a big D&D fan. I know that that's not cool to say, but whatever. And so anything that turns it into more of a mature and more horror style game, the sort of stuff that WotC themselves can't put out due to, age restrictions and things like that, or cultural taboos. Mana Project Studio doesn't adhere to any of that, primarily because they're not an American company. And so they're Italian, actually. Right. And so some of the stuff that they put out is like so cool. The art is the kind of art that I can't put out on my channels. I have to like cover up things because it's either too gory or it'll get censored in some fashion. And I like that sort of thing. I like being able to explore things that more TTRPGs in their normal, I guess, like out of the box capacity don't usually tackle. So yeah, things like Nightfell, Seven Sinners. I know we talked about before we went live. Those are some of my favorites.
Yeah, those are fun. Some full cult or werewolf fun. Yeah, absolutely.
Cult is great.
Cult is so much fun. I haven't played Cult since I was in college though, because I know the newest version came out, but it's definitely a fun one.
Yeah. Oh man, they had a Kickstarter that I dropped so much money on. Oh man.
That's one I didn't back. Like, I backed so many Kickstarters, but that's one I didn't get a chance to back this year. So, and then Werewolf is, if you like Werewolf, then you need to go check out our YouTube, because we just got done with a whole season for Werewolf and Vampire mixed together. It's a lot of fun. So yeah, it's a good time. But yeah, so the last question I have, and this I think is going to be pretty easy to explain because of the fact that you've already stated that you took an 8-year kind of hiatus, is when did you decide it's time to get from one side of the screen to the other? So when were you going from being a player to a game master?
Oh man, I think this comes from a little bit of a superiority complex that I used to have. I like to say used to because I have less anxiety
Less
about
of
not
one.
messing up. Yeah, a little bit less. It's so I used to watch a lot of Critical Role and also used to take into account a lot of fiction writing in
Mm.
how I would DM and how I would not actually DM at the time, but how I would conceptualize DMing. And I would work in, intense foreshadowing and moral quandaries and moral gray areas, situations that weren't entirely black and white on whether or not you're supposed to be the good guy or the bad guy. That sort of stuff fascinated me. And I felt like other DMs weren't really doing it right. They would kind of stick a little bit too close to the module and they wouldn't change anything in order to adapt to the player characters that you have. They wouldn't make it as exciting. Everything would just be like, oh, in combat, for example, it's like, oh, yeah, you strike with your axe, you do 10 points of damage. All right, moving on. And it's like there's no flavor there. And so
Yeah.
I got kind of sick of seeing other people do it wrong. And I started deciding that I would consider maybe being on the other side of the screen to, if you want to do it
can't
right,
get
do it
what
yourself.
you want out of it, why not jump to the other side of the screen to make them do it?
Yeah, that and control issues. So now I'm a forever DM, but I like being here.
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
We had board game night yesterday, and we played Hero Quest, and like that has nothing. And so everybody started looking at me because they were like, I'd be like, tell me how you kill the creature. And I mean, we all know that from playing, like, tell me how you do it. And so I have one person that's really into it, and the other person's like, I killed it.
I killed it.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, I need more.
I mean, sometimes you have to allow those people to get to that point, though, right? Like, I think that's where you have to meet them where they're at. We have a huge table here at the house right now. I got lucky to find a bunch of people in local area, but I feel that same thing happening. You got some people who are really excited to tell the kill cam, to get really into it, or describe how the trap is, how they build or how they fix the trap, break the trap, or how they cast a spell. And then other people is like, I cast a spell. Okay, gotcha.
You kind of have to learn techniques for easing people into it. It's the same with like talking about yourself. If you're coming from a video game background, getting yourself to talk in character in first person is always something that I try and teach people how to do. And that sort of stuff.
Yeah. Getting people to talk in first person, getting people to use a voice, like that is always funny. But you have to be willing to overact that as well at your table, I guess, would be the best way to have people feel comfortable with it.
Yeah, exactly.
And ask questions. That's what our table does right now. We do completely an improv table anymore because I have too many players and it's too hard for me to keep everybody together. So my players actually write part of the story during the game as well. So that's how we do that. So yeah,
I love that sort of thing.
It's definitely been fun, but you have to have the right players. There's that too. You have to have the right players. So those are the three questions I like to start
to the
with.
Other end of the table.
Yeah.
How do you kind of like get out of the DM brain and back into player brain?
Ooh.
Like for me, it's really hard because one of the things that I do is, and James knows sometimes because games we've played, and I will talk in third person still and go, my character does this. And then I'll be like, hold on, you're technically this character. You're only playing one character. You don't have to say this person does this. And I get stuck in that sometimes doing that.
Man.
So how do you kind of like pull back and put yourself back in the player mindset?
It's hard. You can definitely see the fact that I am habitually, chronically a DM. When you look at my player character, like backstories and things like that, a lot of it is me hounding a DM and asking them, hey, can I add this to your world? Like, do you guys have any, like, give me every ounce of lore you have. Otherwise my hands are tied. So I'm one of those players who does a lot of, it's like, oh, you're a cleric. And I'm sitting here like, I need to know who I'm a cleric of. I need to know their entire social structure within the church. I need to know what their presence is like. Give me like everything. Can you write just like a Bible for me and then send it to me on my business email? And then I promise it will help me. And they're like, Diana, chill the fuck out.
It's a one shot.
Exactly. And I'm like, it's not enough. So a lot of it is really intense character building that takes into account potential character arcs that I could go through as a character. So I'm one of those people who hands my DM everything they need to know and they almost never have to ask follow-up questions. But when it comes to actually getting prepared to play a player character in the moment, I spend a decent amount of time like studying the character sheet before, especially because I'm in so many games and do so many little one-shots and campaigns that I spend a solid half hour leading up to the call time, playing music from the characters, like Spotify playlist, just staring and having their Pinterest board open on one of my monitors, reading through their entire backstory top to bottom. Not for memorization purposes, it's more just so I can get in the character, you know?
Yeah. What are some of the things that you think about as you're building the character out for a new character?
Oh
Um,
man.
I think that's something that a lot of people have trouble with, where it's like when somebody says, "Oh, I need a backstory," and you're like, "Okay," and some people give them, 3 paragraphs, and other people give them 7 pages, or more. What are some things that you make sure that you capture to give to your game master when you have to build a character?
Oh man, I actually love this question because I have a whole template for it. I'm trying to remember what's on it. It's been a hot sec since I built a character. Bare minimum, the
Thanks,
most that you
Jaden.
need for the
And
oh
Jaden King
amazing.
just popped
Hello.
in. What's up, buddy?
Good to see you. Um, the the bare minimum that I have for a character is a basically a set of keywords is always my starting point. And what this means is it's kind of like an aesthetic breakdown of just short phrases and words that represent the character. Most recent one I built, her name is Kadota, which I doesn't mean anything. Or I didn't think it meant anything. I just thought it sounded cool until I Googled it and found out it was a fig, like type of fig. Very niche, I suppose. I don't eat figs, but I was like, okay, cool. Well, what are figs known for in symbolism, in history and religion? And I was like, oh, okay, they mean abundance. So maybe my character's motivation symbolically is to be just rich by the end of the campaign, So I'd write down a bunch of stuff like that. I'd write like, oh, her symbol is figs. She has, a green aesthetic. Her motivation is to be rich by the end of the day. And then I go into like, okay, like what is her day to day? All that sort of stuff, Usually it starts with a Pinterest board, develops into a Spotify playlist, and then swirls out from there into a bunch of stuff that if any sane person looked at it would probably be like, this is entirely too much, but also would appreciate all the metaphors that are woven into her story. So
Yeah,
I like
and I
that sort
think
of
as a
stuff.
game master, that's not a bad deal to give all those little pieces to a game master to be like, oh look, this is all the little toys you can play with, and then destroy me with, because I feel like that's the main focus we do as game masters.
Mhm. Yeah.
Uh,
Plus, it's really helpful. Like, once you get the backstory fleshed out, to be like, okay, well, this is what your character's past patterns have been. It's probably a good hint as to how she'd react in certain situations. So, like, I write out a bunch of vignettes, right? Basically, small, again, a hint of DMing here, where I was like, I always think to myself, oh, if my character was in this situation, for example, what would she do? And I just run little test scenarios and write them out as paragraphs, almost like fiction writing in my head.
yeah, definitely.
Quotes that she'd drop and all that sort of stuff.
I do that a lot of times. Like the first like big book I remember reading was The Hobbit, and I was like, what mindset was Tolkien in to like write this chapter or this paragraph?
Mm-hmm.
So I do that with my characters all the time, and some people laugh whenever I'm running a game for them because they'll go, "Why are you asking me this like off the wall question?" I'm like, I got to dive more into your character because I want to know. You had this thing that piqued my interest, and I want to know what you think on this. Some of them never think
Yeah.
that far, and I like going ahead and asking the question because that triggers them to possibly think that far.
Exactly. Right. I feel like people should have a decent framework for like knowing exactly that. How would you react to a situation where your morals are tested or suddenly, and I'd love doing this with BBEGs, it's like, how would you feel if a BBEG was just a darker reflection of what you currently hold dear? And, I do this a lot with paladins. It's like, okay, well, if you're a paladin that has a moral and divine purpose of, let's say, preserving nature.
Mm-hmm.
But what if the BBEG of the campaign is someone who has taken that a little too far and has gone full eco-terrorist? The BBEG is going to stare you down and be like, hey, we're actually fighting for the same thing here. Why aren't you on my side? And then the paladin has to make a decision. So making sure that people have their motivations and their morals in place is good, because then you can turn it on their heads.
You can turn it
That's
on their
always
heads.
fun.
I think the other one is fun is the like always ask them like, what is your fear and what is your goal, and how far are you willing to take to get to your goal? Like, because that seems to be the real fun one. Because it's like, oh, this is what you want to do in the game. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
How far
Fears
are
are
you
so
willing to?
overlooked.
Like, how far are you willing to go? So,
Yeah.
What other like RPGs have you played besides just D&D? Are there any other ones?
Yeah, I've dabbled with a couple things like Daggerheart. I'm kind of getting into. That's my latest campaign that I've just created a character for a little while ago, not super long ago, I guess. But I'm gonna dive into that a little bit more. I've done a couple one shots here and there. Candela, back before it kind of faded away into obscurity, was I played it once or twice, and then yeah, I don't know. I mostly collect them, to be honest. They're just on my shelf in case someone asks me to play. So I learned pretty
I
much
feel
everything.
the pain.
Yeah, it's kind of fun though. It's satisfying, and it makes for a good
Yeah.
backdrop. Can't
Yeah,
argue that.
absolutely. Yeah. I mean, we're launching 6 different systems this year on the channel, so it's
Oh
going to
my
be
God.
busy. Yeah,
Goodness.
including some of the ones you just mentioned. So
Nice.
yeah,
Yeah.
we're going back to Candela. So we will have a small mini series in Candela, which I'm excited about. I'm playing in that one. I'm not running that one.
Nice.
And then Jacob's running Kids on Bikes, which is another fun one.
Heard amazing things. Yeah.
He's excited. Like I said, I've watched everything build out for it, and it looks awesome. I've yet to play it. Apparently, I'm in it at Gen Con this year. I was like, I have never played, so this will be fun on stage. So
Nice.
I'll be having to do a little bit of reading up for that one. What is a tabletop game you have yet to play that you're excited to play?
Oh gosh, definitely Cult. I
Okay.
gush about Cult all the time. For the audience who's not aware, Cult is one of those games that you need a lot of trigger warnings for before even reading the manual. It intentionally goes into highly sexual, highly violent, highly morally wrong themes,
Mhm.
and describing them in vivid detail as examples for the GM to follow. But it takes place in a modern day setting where the heavens and the hells are walking among us. You have demons and angels, and I love that book so much. It takes everything I love about the moral quandaries that I try and put into D&D, and it just is the backbone of the entire
It just
system.
eases you into it. Like, here you go. This is
It's-
all of it. Is all you have to do.
It's like the whole point. It's cool. It's powered by the apocalypse, so no one has to learn anything crazy. It's just hard to play because, again, the content is so mature that it's kind of like I gotta find the right group and
Yeah.
make sure that everyone's really comfortable.
Well, let me know when you need a player, because I've played it before and I'd love to come back. It's such a
Yeah.
fun one. Not to mention, if
I've
you've
never
ever
played it,
seen,
but I would.
oh yeah, so like it's also those fun ones where, you know, when you see the conspiracy board and you've got the lines drawn and stuff, like that is like Cult, and it's like, and it's
Don't
like
look at my notes up there, okay?
I can't see them, so you're
Oh
good.
man, I just noticed that.
But yeah, no, Cult would be a lot of fun. So you do vampire and then stuff like that as well, then, I'm guessing?
I wish. I've heard
Okay.
amazing things. I try and collect horror games in particular, so I at
Okay.
least have a passing knowledge of most of them. And
Yeah.
the World of Darkness stuff is on my shelf, but I never really got into it because there's so many other creators who specialize in it, and I know who already are doing any content related to the World of Darkness series and the LARPs that are done at Gen Con and all that sort of stuff way better than I ever will. So
Yeah.
I figure
That's how I got into tabletop, was through a Vampire the Masquerade LARP. That's how I got
I
into
hear that a
tabletop.
lot.
Yeah.
They're cool.
And
They're
I
so
did
cool.
that that's almost 2 decades ago. Woo!
Oh.
It's been a minute.
I
I just thought about that for a second. I was like, oh boy, it's been a minute. Yeah. But no, that's really cool. And I think it's interesting that the idea that you're big into D&D, but then really your passion is in the horror and the moral conflict and things like that. So D&D really isn't the proper system for what you want to explore.
It's not main stage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's very
It sucks, but like it's been talked about plenty of times by people, especially people who have explored a lot of TTRPGs outside of D&D and who keep like shaking the walls of their enclosure, being like, "Stop playing D&D if you want horror stuff." They have a point, you know. With
Right.
D&D in particular, it's so combat forward, and so especially like prowess forward, that a situation that is inherently horrific that you physically can't fight is so outside of what the system is meant for.
Yeah.
That it's tough. You can implement sanity mechanics all you want, but
it still doesn't.
there's always going to be better games.
Yeah. Call of Cthulhu. That's another
Yeah.
fun one.
Well, and I feel like if you ever got to the point where there was like the best thing, it'd be like every character's like character sheet, or every RPG's character sheet, and by the time you were done with it, you would have a book of like every little thing for it.
goodness.
I mean, like
yeah, there's so many tabletop games now though, and
Yeah.
they've come out with one that you like horror, and I'm gonna gloat on a buddy of mine, Justin. It's called Sickest Witch, and it is probably the darkest game I've ever seen somebody play. The idea is you are a coven of witches, and the way you cast spells is you have to take body parts from people you've killed.
Oh, I love that sort of stuff.
It's brutal, but it is so good. Other tabletop games like Power Rangers, yeah. I mean, depending on the, I don't know if we would do Power Rangers in a horror game, but I mean, you can probably come up with something. They did Power Rangers Zombies.
We could do a one shot.
They did Power Rangers Zombies at one point.
They did.
They did.
Oh man.
Yeah. I think it was in a comic. I think it was in comics only, but yeah.
I have no knowledge of like the Power Rangers and like Marvel TTRPGs and things like that, or so I haven't seen the source material, and I tend to stay away from IPs that I don't know a lot about. So that's my weakness, definitely. I have seen, kind of along a similar lines as using body parts and things like that. There's this one TTRPG that Hunters Entertainment just kickstarted a little while ago. Kickstarter's way over by now. I don't know where it's at, but it's based off of Beneath the Trees Where Nobody Sees, which is a really old graphic novel. Yeah,
I've
I don't know if you
heard
guys
of
know about it.
Yeah,
it's all about these like Richard Scarry style. Like if you remember that art style from back in the 90s, you know, this delightful little town full of animals, anthropomorphized animals that have, you know, their own shops and their own day-to-day routines and their own jobs, and they're all friendly with each other. And then they find out that there's a serial killer running amok. And in the graphic novel, the main character is the serial killer, or one of them. In the game, you're trying to work as a group to find out who the killer is, but one of the group or two of the group or no one in the group might be the killer, and they're trying to throw everyone else off. And so, like GM-less, it's got role-playing aspects. The most fun part is the fact that this is crazy, an insane move from this Kickstarter, but it's so inspirational, is the fact that their top tier shipped not in a box like any normal game would. It shipped inside a teddy bear, and it came with a little scalpel. And you had to cut open the little teddy bear in order to pull out the
Holy, that is so crazy cool.
The coolest idea I've ever seen for a Kickstarter fulfillment. I don't know if it was worth how much that tier was at, but like just for the vibe, it's kind of cool.
Just to be able to you know, when people do unboxings, like can you imagine being on Instagram and just
hey guys, welcome to my
unboxing. What is that teddy? What are you gonna do with that teddy bear?
Imagine that being like an agreement for like anybody that sends you anything. Yeah, I need you to stuff it inside of a teddy bear or something for me, and then send me this book.
Yeah.
Sew it up, like, you know. Oh my goodness. The different conversations that had to be done during that Kickstarter. It's like, hey, when we're boxing these sets up, I need you to shove this in a teddy bear and then sew it up for me, and then box it up and send it out.
Yeah.
Like, what?
Somewhere out there, the CEO of Build-A-Bear just sat up in a cold sweat, and they're not sure why.
I love that. What is a tabletop game that you've played over the years that just you gain something out of it, but it's not a tabletop game for you? Maybe it's an idea that you found that worked well with your campaign or with your world, but it's just, this isn't my style.
Oh man, anything Lovecraftian.
Okay.
So I'm gonna talk about something that happened at Gen Con, PAX Unplugged recently, the most recent one this past November, where I had the absolute pleasure of playing at Lex McQueen's table. She goes by @BlackGirlMage, I believe, on all platforms, and they're an amazing GM. They came to us and they were like, "Hey, I want to do a Severance themed Call of Cthulhu live show." We all dressed up in like office attire, and it was, you know, a Lovecraftian horror type thing where we were just office workers, but we didn't really know what we were doing, and we didn't know what our company made. We didn't know what happened on the other floors of the building. We didn't know who our coworkers were, and then it just descended into madness from there. And I love the body horror, and I love Lex as a GM. Absolutely amazing. I would be at their table any day of the week if they asked me. But I just, as a person, Lovecraftian style, like Cthulhu type horror, where it's inherently unknowable, and that's what makes it scary. That kind of stuff just isn't scary to me, and I have never liked it that much. I like the scary stuff that is human and not,
humanoid.
yeah, like the reason that 28 Days Later it's not scary because of the infected, it's scary because of what people do after the apocalypse and how much logical sense that their reasoning has, and that sort of stuff is what I try and build into my worlds. And so I don't think Call of Cthulhu is the game for me, but its mechanics and Lex as a GM are both like such cool highlights of my career.
Nice.
It's just that type of horror isn't for me.
Well, speaking of horror, let's wait for everybody. This has been added.
Yeah.
The monster attacks. This is our second portion of the show tonight, and starting in 2026, as the monster attacks, Diana's going to tell us what her favorite monster is, and we're going to talk about how you might use that in your tabletop gaming going forward.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Okay. Favorite monster in I'm gonna work off D&D here because I'm assuming that's where most
we're gonna push D&D mostly. Yeah.
Cool. Heck yeah. The Obelix. Absolutely.
Ooh.
It's not something I've ever seen put in an official module, and I've never seen it run in a game. At least I haven't run it, but I really want to. And the thing is, it's like a ooze, but it's more sentient than your typical gelatinous ooze or black pudding. It's created by mind flayers, canonically. And then before that, like above the table, it was actually created by, I believe, a little kid, like a little boy as part of his Make-A-Wish. It was like a dying wish.
Yes, it was a Make-A-Wish foundation, or it was like his Make-A-Wish, or the kids did some sort of like, it was some sort of contest. Like all these kids put their monsters in, and this one was one of these were picked.
Yeah, it's so cool. But it's this big red slime, and what it does is if it hits you, it takes away a little piece of you. It takes away your memories. And after a time, if it grows old enough and big enough and has enough memories, it can perfectly emulate whoever it happened to be feeding off of. So it can send out like a little tendril, and that little tendril of ooze grows into 2 legs, a torso, 2 arms, and a head. And then it can move around a village and completely take the place of whoever it attacked. Which means that the combat against this creature has to be not just like, oh, you hit it and it takes damage. If it hits you, you then have a chance as a DM to role play out a moment where you're losing your memory. Your player character starts to like have a flashback to something that happened in their childhood, but for some reason the faces are all blank and they can no longer remember who was there or what even happened. And so it's a rare opportunity to really flex your DMing skills. And I really want to try it sometime.
I turned off my mic for a minute. I haven't used one yet. However, we have a small improv comedy club just around the corner from us in Southern Virginia that on stage they created an Obelix.
Oh man.
Yeah. They used it as a the Obelix was pretty much the mistress for a brothel. And
interesting.
Yeah, so then they come in, they would start to lose their memories, they'd want to stay longer, and then they would become part of the the coven or the hive, and then that's how they created the character. So it was pretty neat.
Such a cool like Lotus Eaters vibe.
Yeah,
a nice little twist on that sort of thing.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
And then kind of from media, if you think about it, if you've ever watched the anime Bleach, kind of like Kingfisher, where they had the little almost like the anglerfish type feel where you put the character together and then that could bring them back to the main body where the bodies eat, they can consume you and whatnot. So it kind of gives that little lure type mentality for the character. Somebody said very House of the Rising Sun is also, yes, another creepy one. So yeah, all sorts of good ideas.
I'll have to look it up.
Right. So how would you want to use that?
Oh man, it makes for a very good mystery setup, I think, especially because a lot of people, when it comes to memory loss and the party wanders into a town and people are disappearing, but then people are also not remembering things as well as they used to be able to. Your first thought is False Hydra, and the False Hydra has been done so many times that I feel like the False Hydra would be a very good red herring for this sort of thing. I was saying a lot of pairs of nouns. I promise it's it's my concept would be to then kind of have the party figure out slowly that even though these people are disappearing, they're coming back after some time. They just seem, a little bit off, and not even that much off. And then, one person who comes off as almost insane keeps insisting, oh my God, that's not my wife, or that's not my boss. And they're the only one who can see what's happening. So you have to figure out who to believe. You have to figure out what's really happening. You have to figure out, most of all, where the Oblex is hiding, and then go and confront it at the source.
Ooh. What about you, Jacob? How would you use it?
So I know exactly how I would use it. There is a book called The Monster Girl Encyclopedia. My friend bought us when we covered manga on YouTube before.
Yeah.
And they're talking about it's an ooze. I think they call it an ooze emperor. Basically, it can make multiple oozes that are all connected to like one body.
Oh, cool.
They all push themselves out. So you could have like an entire town that everybody is one of this ooze, and you're walking on it and you don't know that that's what it is. And I think I would have to use it that way, where the party enters a town, and once they enter the town, like, they're already screwed. They don't know the entire Obelisk is this entire town. Yeah. And as they walk around, you kind of get those different things, and you have people that are feeding into the delusion of it. Maybe like this Oblex has taken over like an apothecary, and now the Oblex also knows like how to do different things, so it slowly like drugs people, and they're all yeah, this is like you said, this is my wife. I know it's my wife, but she does something weird, and so like the party almost has to read in between the lines of like, is this a murder mystery that we're having, or what's going on? And then it's almost like it's too late. They're in the middle of the clutches of this thing without knowing that, one of them could be next, and maybe they are.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
that's a great concept.
It may be like the door game that we're supposed to learn how to play, or like Tin Candles, where there's no way out. Everybody's supposed to basically die.
Yeah.
Like, this is that game. Like, you're going to die no matter what, but can you figure it out before you die?
Mm-hmm. Well, I love that sort of stuff.
It's like interesting too, because there's differences. Like I'm just looking them up real fast, but like there's 3 different versions of the Oblex, right? Like there's the adult Oblex, which is this kind of the growing form of it, and then all of a sudden it goes to the Elder, which the Elder is kind of what we're talking about, where they have the ability to be fully sentient looking, and they have now this kind of hive mind control thing, just to be able to utilize it in a way of kind of almost like autonomous, where like, oh, the barkeeper does these 5 things because it's the only 5 things that barkeeper remembers, and if you shift him out of this, or you give him a different task, something happens. Like, it's the glitch, right? Like it's like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing, I need to return to what I was doing, like, and whatnot. Like
what was it? We talked about it, like the echoes in The Walking Dead, where like the people would go up to their houses and try and open the door, like, I'm coming home, and then they don't realize, nobody realizes it's like the echo of their past life from being a zombie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Autism versus Oblex.
Of course, we could completely like throw this to the left field and like take from the old classic movie. Is it Splice, the alien one?
I'm not good at classic horror movies.
It's the one
which
where
blows my mind, because you have such an enjoyment of horror, and you're like,
I'm such a scaredy cat. I can't. I read the scripts for horror movies, so I don't have to actually watch them.
Yeah, so you're like, 28 Days Later, I'm good. I don't need to watch that one. I'm just gonna read it.
Yeah, exactly.
Splice is Splice DNA, not so much Alien.
Maybe Species.
Species.
That sounds familiar.
Yeah, that sounds familiar. But yeah, no, I definitely fun premise, flawed execution. I mean, a lot of older movies that way, or that way. Mars Attacks, it's another funny one.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
But thanks, Sam, on that one. But yeah, no, I think this is definitely an interesting concept because it allows the players to interact with this character or this creature without fully understanding what they're interacting with until it's way too late in the puzzle.
Yeah.
Usually,
Mhm.
because you don't have to hide much, like because everything's already consumed. Like they know the memories, they understand everything. Um,
Well, and
I
you
think it
also
would
know
also,
the other weird thing is we're just looking at this as like humans. Like,
yeah,
what if it
Oh my
was like,
gosh. Like a little dog just
what if it
trotting
was the
around.
Chroma Conclave, like the dragon?
the dragons, like it was actually a
Yeah.
Under the
giant set
obelisk.
of like a giant
Yeah,
obelisk.
yeah.
God, that's scary. Um, it brought me a memory back of an anime I just watched a couple months ago called Frieren with the demons though, and it's like thinking about how certain words attract certain responses, and that's what he says in it. And he goes, "Oh, I'm sorry we didn't make this. My mother was on her deathbed," and it immediately changed the emotion of what the other person was saying. And then as the guy walked out the door, the other demon looked at him and was like, "Well, why did you say that?" He goes, "Oh, because certain words make them react differently." So he didn't actually have a mother that died, but he knew that that would make him react differently, so that's why he did it.
Interesting.
Thinking that as an Oblex would be very simple, very interesting as well. It's like, oh, my son's in the well. Oh, well, that's going to trigger somebody a lot faster than the random dude in the well. There's a stranger in the well. So,
Oh my gosh. Going off of what you said and what Diana said, Lassie.
Lassie.
What? There's somebody in the well, Lassie?
Somebody in the
No,
well, Lassie?
it's just an Obelix.
No, there's not.
That's what it is.
It's the Obelix just slowly consumes more and more people from the well.
Yes.
And just
Yeah.
bleeds from it. Goodness gracious. Yeah. Like a cheese block. Yeah. Chilling like a cheese block. But yeah. Audience, you're welcome to share too. Anybody in the chat room, how would you use an Obelix? I'm really curious because this concept is definitely something that's not utilized enough.
It's daunting for sure to have to deal with like memories, and also the fact that it's kind of inherently not something that you can save people from. Like if people are telling you, "Hey, I need you to figure out what's wrong with my husband. He's been acting weird lately," and then eventually the quest giver, you have to go back and tell them your husband's been dead for a long time.
Yeah.
That was never your husband.
Yeah. Or worse,
A
you
little
go
bit
back
more.
to the quest giver and the quest giver doesn't remember talking to you, and you're like, "Oh crap, there's more." Like,
Yeah. Oh, even better.
No,
Like-
they were just old. They're forgetful.
right?
You mean we killed an innocent? Yes, we did.
Yeah, we had an innocent in this whole thing. Yeah, there was one.
Well, and I mean,
Um,
another weird concept would be, what if it was the Oblex like took over like parents and then like still protected the kids?
mm,
I mean, like there's
That has
memories
to.
memories worked differently because when an Obelix would consume it, they would consume it as its identity, which then would make it
Yeah.
so that.
Yeah.
Oh, have you played Death House for Barovia?
Oh yes, yeah.
The
I've
Death House.
run it a
Can you
couple times.
imagine? Can you imagine putting the Obelix as that as the family?
Oh my god.
Oh, that'd be
crazy.
wicked.
And it'd be way better than just ghost kids or whatever it is. I
Yeah.
modified that module so much.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
great, but like it's not scary,
Yeah, I've never played that one. Truthfully, I've read through it and I thought it was pretty neat. But like, there's been so many amazing live plays that I've watched through it, and I was like, man, if I want to play this, like, I have to be very open on my mindset, and also I have to find somebody who's willing to change enough of it, so I don't know
Yeah.
what's going on.
Reddit has done a wonderful deep dive on basically overhauling Curse of Strahd almost entirely to make it A, actually scary, B, have a lot more like foreshadowing and weaving in of the characters' actions and choices into the final campaign. And
Yeah.
they made it so easy to follow. There's new items. There's like a whole separate storyline that brings you to level 17 by the end as opposed to level 12 or 13.
Oh wow.
It's cool.
You gotta play Viking Curse. There's a Viking Curse of
There's a
Strahd?
Viking Curse of Strahd. No way.
No, you need to link that in the chat room, and Sam, you have power to do so. So you need to do
That's sick. That's so cool. Oh.
I have enough of a Viking obsession. Like now you're gonna tell me
mean-
I can do this and Curse of Strahd. Like let's
We
do Viking,
know that
Viking
Sam
vampires.
really likes Curse of Strahd. Does he have like a bullseye board that just has ideas on it? Let's play Curse of Strahd.
Pirates.
Zombies.
Yeah.
Pirates.
Vikings.
Egyptians. There we go.
Yeah. Big shout out for Curse of Strahd supplement guide though, as you go get She is Ancient from Beth the Bard, who's another amazing writer, along with
That's
their
great.
new Frankenstein one that's coming out soon. Clowns Curse of Strahd? No. Too much dark things going on in
These
one.
dudes are
one
clowns
shot.
enough already. Some of them.
Yeah, you said clowns, and I'm done. No, it's just a Wheel of Fortune wheel, is what Sam said. He's just got his Curse of Strahd Wheel of Fortune wheel.
Everything except rolling dice, of course.
Yeah, everything except rolling dice. I'm
Hey,
a
we
vampire
could
honk honk.
take Curse of Strahd and mix it with Heckna, and then add an Oblex overlay and like
What are we creating at this?
Throw everything in there.
a
Why
monster,
not?
okay?
The monster. It's
Or wrap it in first
this
edition
is-
dungeons, Make it so everything works in THACO.
Oh.
Yes.
Have you ever played Thaco?
God no. I respect everyone who has.
I got the opportunity to play last year by a legend. Like I was not missing this opportunity, and thankfully he had a cheat sheet for Thaco, which made my life 100 times easier. They are out there now, thankfully, and you can just look it up. You're like, oh, I rolled this, and this is what I have in my marks. This is what I need to get. Like, okay, cool. These are easy understandings. But yeah, when you're told, hey, sit down at this table and let Zeb Cook run a game for you, you're like, okay, got you. I'm not moving. And he ran it with 16 people. It was incredible.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
That is ballsy.
He was he's the original writer for Island of Dread. And he still
Island of
runs
Dread.
games till this day. It's crazy.
Ooh,
Yeah.
I love that sort of
Yeah.
commitment.
Yeah. Island of Dread is a 2E module. And yeah, he'll be at GaryCon this year. But yeah, no, he's part of the old crew, and he still runs games to this day, and it's incredible to watch because he does it for 16 people. Like, what are you doing? Now, mind you,
That's so cool.
3 of us died within 15 minutes, so there was
Oh, man.
that. Because
Oh,
we're
like
playing it
permadeath?
because we were playing it in BX. So yeah, old
Sure.
school.
So that's why there were 16 people.
Well, he had 2 character sheets per person ready.
Oh,
Like pre-made per
Oh.
person ready. We didn't technically die. We mutinied the ship and went somewhere else, but we couldn't play the game for the rest of the time then. So he just handed us new character sheets. He's like, your character didn't die, but he's not part of the story anymore because now you're on the island. You just took off with the boat that they need to get off the island. And I was like, well, my bad. We lived.
You got a point there.
We lived. Instead of Rudolph Van Richten, it's just 30 normal people who hate clowns.
So there's 30 normal people.
We're now on a conversation of Curse of Strahd is Bozo. Curse of Bozo. Ooh. All right.
I
This is
mean,
where we're working.
we could just toss that out and just say Santa Claus is an Oblex and think about all the elves.
Oh god.
Now that's an
Holiday
interesting
one-shots.
idea. Holiday one shot where Santa Claus is an Obelix. And the reason why the kids don't know that he arrives with toys is because they've erased their memories.
Mm-hmm.
And that also could be
man.
why after a while, when kids grow up, they no longer have the memory that Santa Claus exists.
Everybody has a little Oblex in them.
Everybody has a little
To
Obelix.
forget, that would suck.
That's kind of that's a really cool concept.
Kind of terrifying. And as I said that, the lights went off. That was weird. Like, let's not do that. That was creepy. Wait, Santa doesn't exist. Nope, he does. The man in the red jacket definitely exists. A red coat. But yeah.
I was talking to my podcast co-host, who's Australian, the other day because we were recording, and he was telling me about how Christmas goes down under, and I was like, yeah, you guys just kind of do barbecues, right? But what do your visualizations of Santa look like? Like, does he still have the red coat and things like that? And he sends me a picture of an Australian Christmas greeting card, and the big piece of art is Santa on a beach surrounded by palm trees and kangaroos, sipping a Mai Tai with sunglasses on, and he still has red shorts, but they're like cut off right above the knee, and they still have like the furry like
furries.
trim on them. He still has the
Oh,
chunky belt, nothing else on.
Oh, that's fantastic. And also, I'm going to yell at my buddies who are down under and be like, why hadn't I get the Christmas
Yeah.
card with Santa on it? Oh, so jealous. Yeah, that's got to be that's going to be a rough one though. So you record with because Australians have a different time zone completely from us. So
Yeah,
how does
halfway
that
across the world.
how does that work? Do you get like you time it to be super early, super late? Like
A little bit about it's really late for me. We used to do it on weekends, which is
Okay.
a little bit shifted because our Friday is their Saturday. They're a day
Mhm.
ahead, and it helps a little bit being on weekdays because essentially as long as I stay up till 9 or 10, which usually I'm up till like 1 or 2 anyway, then that's when my co-host Odin gets off of work, has a little bit of time to relax, which is about maybe 4 or 5 his time.
Yeah.
He works a job that has him up kind of a warehouse gig, so he's up
Okay.
obscenely early and gets home
Yeah.
really early from
Really
work,
early.
so kind of shoot that gap. And then I head to bed, and then he goes and hangs out for the rest of the evening. So not too
Awesome.
bad. The real trouble is the fact that my D&D game, which is a Curse of Strahd game, but it's more like Curse of Strahd mixed with Game of Thrones. It's not what I'm running, but I'm a player in it. It's at 1 in the morning when we're not, when daylight savings time starts, because we have one player in London, one in Australia, one that just moved to London as well, one in Brazil. Oh no, I used to be in Brazil, and then me on the West Coast. With the
Wow.
GM. And so we had to. Yeah, it
Everywhere.
wasn't ideal. I'm half asleep. I don't know what happened during those games, but
That's why we
you know,
record them.
it's fun.
I gotta
Yeah,
rewatch
exactly.
them. Yeah. So I don't know if this is something that's been brought up at least, but what is your podcast about? I've only seen you on TikTok and Instagram. So let's talk about the podcast now.
Yeah. So the podcast is called Worlds Apart. Not sponsored, but it's basically just me and my friend Odin, who's Odin_son with 2 N's on all platforms, except for Instagram, where he's Odie Rips because he does Pokemon card ripping, and not the cards, the packs. He'll probably kill me if I say like, oh yeah, he just rips Pokemon cards. But him and I gotta do that in front of him one of these days just to see him freak out. Anyway, him and I do improvised world building essentially for
nice.
presumably a D&D game, but it's supposed to be system agnostic, and we've been doing it for about 23, maybe coming up on 25 episodes now, where
Awesome.
we'll world build whatever sounds fun. Currently, we're doing the entire basically development lore of the world. So, you know, how the gods came to be, how the elemental titans came to be, how the fates came to be. Occasionally we'll have guests on who will come on and build their own thing. So we had our editor on one time who built a god of monsters. Someone else built a god of bad fortune. And, you know, we've done all sorts of stuff. Festivals, holidays, events, places, people, things. So it's very loose.
I know we had a guest on here just a couple months ago, maybe a couple weeks ago. Jacob, when did we have Ravens Ridge on?
Like the end of November.
Okay, so it's a couple months. But yeah, they have a full breakdown game called Cartograph, which allows you to do all of that.
Yeah,
She's like, I have it.
They sent it to me so long ago. I totally forgot
awesome.
that was them.
Yep.
Yeah, it was a cool game.
So yeah, we have the PDF versions. I need to order it once they get. They're redoing their distributor in the States, so once they get distributed in the States, then we'll reorder it. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it because I think it's how I'm going to build my Shadow Dark game a little bit more. And then I'm not sponsored by these guys, but I was given this, which is awesome. And
I recognize that box.
And this is the Lore Masters deck, which is pretty awesome. So you can really build those same mentalities with the with that. And it comes with things like locations, events, figures, factions, objects, materials, creatures, and modifiers. And then there's also the
one that
story
I need.
engine. What's that?
I said that's the one that I need.
Right.
So good.
I have
It's
the
so
other
worth
two.
it.
Oh, you have this one too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
These are my
I have
best,
the other-
these are my
I have the
awesome
other
friends
two.
giving me Christmas or birthday presents. So this is what this one was. So the story
That's the
engine.
I have that
List
one and
those.
the world builder one,
I need that one. That's my
but I
next
don't
one.
have the other one.
I'm gonna save that, and then it's gonna appear on my doorstep because I think one of my players is in the. I was gonna say one of my players is in the chat room, so he's like, "Happy birthday!" I
Nice.
was like, "Thank you." It was November, but that's when I got it. It was awesome. But yeah,
Maybe I need you to pull like a Diana on me and like ask me for my address so they can send me.
I need to get a PO box. It's definitely something I need to be working on here soon. So as we do get more and more people who want us to review games and things like that, and books and stuff like that. So yeah,
It's fun.
it is. It's a lot of fun. It does take a lot of time though. I will say that. So for somebody who has a full-time job and kids and a con schedule that's scary for most people.
Insane. Yeah. Oh my God. We were talking about this before we started audience. You were going to how did you get a final like total? You said like 14 or something like that, right?
It'll be 14 over the last 2 years. Yeah. I'll be at 7 this year. I was at 7 last year. We started at Page this year in Philadelphia, and then I'll be in Genghis in February, Gary in March, Gen Con in Indianapolis, and then Mysticon in San Diego, and then our small one here in Virginia, and then PAX Unplugged.
Nice.
Yeah. So, but yeah, it's definitely a crazy one. And hopefully I got to submit all my events for Gen Con this week. So that's my next step. I got to get those done before my players get grumpy with me. It's a lot of work.
Event submissions were open already.
Early submissions close on the 4th of February.
Okay.
So,
gotcha.
Yeah, you got some time, but not a lot. Because I was like, oh, I need to get these done too. So yeah. No, Sam, I thought 14 was 2026 alone. No, it's not. And currently those are the only conventions I'm going to, unless you want me to come special guest. And if that's the case, then we need to talk offline and find some way to do that, because I can't run anymore. I can't go to any more conventions this year. It's going to be crazy. But I love it. It's a pastime, and it's been a lot of fun. So
yeah,
I usually run anywhere between 12 and like 20 hours of games when I'm at a convention usually, and it's been so yeah, unless I go strictly to network or for and then Gary Con is my play convention. That is, I only play at that convention. I don't run anything, and part of that is my chance to try all these weird different TTRPGs. I think I tried 7 last year at Gary Con. It was awesome. So
that's a good way to do it. Yeah, people don't realize how much you have to have like at least one vacation con, one party con at least every year. A lot of people go to Dragon Con for that.
I have 2. I have PAX Unplugged, and I have Gary Con. Those are the 2 I don't work at.
Oh yeah.
So, because I realized that PAX, like, I might do something small at PAX Unplugged, but like I realized that is just a really good networking convention, and it's kind of where that one's builds at. So, but
it'll be better this year because our team grew. So.
Yeah, our team continues to grow. Is insane and honored and all that. It's nuts. We went from 1 person, which was me, to 6 people this year, and it's incredible to have a team of amazing artists and creators working behind us. So yeah, which is how we got this awesome overlay. Thank you again, Alex. But as we have a large group in the chat, and there's very active, I can see all the chatting popping up. We're going to start happy hour a little early tonight. So for those that are in here for the first time ever, this is the time where you get to ask all the cool questions. And this can be TTRPG related. It can be lore related. It can be world building related. We try to keep anything personal kind of hidden, unless it's literally just like off the top type stuff. Like, let's not go into any super personal details, things like that. Sam's got a question. Start it off. What kind of energy are you planning on bringing to the Roll D5 baking competition next week?
Oh man, I need to practice a little bit of a like just southerny, almost like an old prospector voice a little bit, because I really want to have a character who is God, have you guys ever watched Cake Boss? Back in the day, those cakes taste awful. like categorically, canonically, they're just made of PVC pipe wrapped in like Rice Krispies and
Yeah.
then fondant everywhere and a bunch of inedible stuff. And so I really want to make a character who is just like, that's all they know, is they can make something look really cool. It might not taste the best, but it'll be structurally sound and it will blow people's minds in how creative it can get. Like she's going to be the person who adds motors to things. and all that sort of stuff.
Artificer. Here we go.
Yeah, basically.
Oh my
I'm
God.
very new to the system. We're playing Baker's Charge, but it's
Okay.
it seems really light and really simple to learn. So we'll just
It'll
step
be
in and see
like-
what happens.
Paula Dean on Nailed It.
Wow, I
Oh.
remember. Oh man, I haven't heard that name in years.
Yeah. I nailed
Yeah.
it. That sounds great. Yeah. All right. Let's see if I missed. All right. So, what's your favorite kind of cheese? Coming from the cheese
Cheese.
professor, so I'm
Cheese?
guessing is definitely something.
Listen, for snack, cheese has a place, right?
Yeah.
Sandwich cheese, different from the melty cheese that you use on
Yeah.
like pasta. You know, Parmesan is my go-to for pasta. For snacking, any sort of sharp white cheddar from specifically Tillamook, because I got to represent Oregon a little bit. But just in general, if I had to pick one cheese to eat
Yeah.
for the rest of my life, brie,
Okay.
100%.
100%. Yeah. I
Nice
was gonna
big
say
brie.
I was gonna say sharp white cheddar too. So I was like, I like sharp white cheddar.
Yeah,
It's good stuff.
there you go.
I don't know if I've ever had the one from Oregon, but I've definitely had sharp white
Well,
cheddar before.
Expanding on this character that you're building, you're gonna have to get up to date on your baking terms. You know how people are
I
like,
know.
how
Oh
they
God.
use like cheese like interchangeably. Like that's nacho cheese.
Like oh my God, I'm gonna have to remember how different techniques go. Like what a souffle is.
yeah.
Oh God, I'll do research.
You
I'll watch
some
so
work-
much.
You got some
Have
work
a
research
country
to do
that
for
sounds like
this. Oh, here's a good one. Rye Guy 503 says, "What is your all-time favorite magic item in any TTRPG?"
Ooh,
That's a rough
I'm-
one.
that's hard. I'm very used to a lot of TTRPGs that just straight up don't have a lot of magic items or they're poorly defined. Candela, for example, I don't mean poorly defined as in like it's bad. It's poorly defined as in it doesn't give you a lot of rules to work with,
Yeah.
and it's more like, okay, it gives you a stat bonus out of like the 4 stats that you have in the game. So for the most part, the ones in D&D pique my interest the most. I think the one where you just reach into a random little bag full of like, I think it's fuzzy little ball things, almost like dryer balls, and you pull one out at random and you throw it on the ground, and then it turns into, I think, an animal, if I'm remembering correctly.
Bag of tricks.
That's like,
Bag of tricks,
that's
yeah.
it. Yeah.
That's what it is,
Oh
yeah.
man, I
That's
get
a
it confused
good
with all the
one.
other bags of things. That's one of my favorites, just for fun, for flavor. You know.
And there's 3 of them, so
There are 3 different
Exactly.
bags, yep.
Yeah.
The other one, the other thing similar to that is the Code of Useful Things. That's another fun one.
Yes.
So it's like having
Yeah.
sticky notes on a coat and you just rip it off and you throw it
Well,
as something.
if we're going off of that, the one for your character that I made, I think I love the best. In my campaign,
Oh, my Santa's
one that I
bag.
sent you,
Santa's bag.
yeah, it's Santa's bag of tricks,
Yeah.
and it's roll a d4 and then roll a d100.
Yeah.
And I just went through and like, okay, here's a list, here's a list, here's a list, here's a list. That's too many. We'll stop at 4. And it's just there's this many items in the bag. What are you gonna do with it?
Yeah.
Cool.
I play a
Cool.
Forge Cleric Furbolg who casts spells by using small toys to you like to pass the spells. And he's this large Furbolg soft character. But yeah, he's the equivalency of giant Santa Claus. It's awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So like when he
real
casts
question is-
when he casts Healing Word or something, he just builds quickly a small Kaderi or something and throws it, and it comes over and casts the spell.
The real question is he an
Aw.
Obelix?
No,
Hulk.
I'm not an Obelix.
Good.
It's gonna be Diana, for someone developing a setting for publication, what is a top tip for a rich world that stands out? Ooh,
Ooh. On a grand scale, make sure that everything has motivations. If someone is just existing to be a bartender and, that's fine for most settings, your party members are going to go in, order a drink, ask if they have any open rooms, and leave in 90% of circumstances. But in the 10% of circumstances where you're going to interact with them a little bit more, or perhaps you start asking questions to try and solve a mystery in town, like why are all these people disappearing and coming back without memories? You want to make sure that every NPC has at least some one-sentence motivation somewhere. Maybe the tavern keeper, all he wants to do is make enough money to be able to like pack up and leave town as soon as possible because he hates it here. Maybe someone wants to pass on their belongings to their children. Maybe someone actually wanted to be an adventurer a long time ago, but settled for just taking care of them and being a weaponsmith and repairing their weapons and armor wherever they can. Making sure motivations are there makes your world feel a lot less two-dimensional with basically no effort. The other thing is also making sure that the motivations themselves are fine. Making sure that someone's means of accomplishing those motivations aren't always pure is so much fun. I mean, the difference between a good guy and a bad guy usually isn't much. Usually, in a lot of media, they have the same goals and the same, end desires. It's just the bad guy takes a worse route of getting there. Think about Thanos, for example. He was trying to save the solar system, the galaxy, by cutting population in half and reducing overpopulation and resource waste. He just did it the violent way.
Yeah.
But, a bad means to an end. All that makes a bad guy different from a good guy. And it's always good to introduce those little nuances into the campaigns that you're writing.
Absolutely. And on the bad guy aspect too, is you got to remember that a real bad guy is somebody who doesn't believe they are a bad guy. They have a reason to do what they're doing.
Yeah.
The other thing is like, and this is something I was told by a incredible writer whose moniker is Alphinius Goo from the GUI Cube, is always ask the question why. Like everything, if you can answer a why to it, then there's still more to the story. So it kind of gives you those quick pushes to make sure that you're getting something extra. Jacob, do you want to add to that?
Yeah, like I got two for that. The first one that comes to mind is like Tim Curry. Like they go, "How do you play such good villains?" And he's like, "I'm playing a villain." Like it's his question. Like, is that what I'm doing? And like you said, a good villain is somebody that doesn't know that they're actually the villain of the story. They're just working all the way through it.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other one and it's only because I just watched it with my little guy, is there's a cool robot movie called Ron's Gone Wrong. And basically, like, the whole idea behind the thing is what makes a good friend. And it's all these little robots that are supposed to help everybody make friends. And this guy that's a genius puts in an algorithm. It's supposed to help everybody. It's just like our phones. Nothing different. There's no friendship there or really anything like that. But then this one kid that doesn't have it, can't afford it, gets one, and all the little things that build up into it, this robot has now learned all the different parts of it. And I think that's what really makes all these little things, is it's those minute changes you change to a villain or something in your world that is answering that why question.
Yeah, love that. All right, let's see what we've got here. We've got our favorite item. That one's done. That one's done. I hope that answers. Actually, real quick, let me know if that has answered your question, because we definitely want to make sure we're getting those. That's from Hados, Master of Time. It's a cool name. It's really cool. From Grant from the Bew, what is your favorite mix of adventures for a group to GM for? I imagine how having 3 wizards can be interesting if you have a great imagination about it.
Oh man. It depends on the game and it depends on the module. So many modules out there are very tied to like needing a certain set of characters and needing a specific like loadout almost, and I kind of hate that. If anything, I'm down to GM for whatever, and if a party has a really specific like thing that they're missing, it's like, oh guys, you are gonna need a healer and you don't have a healer, then I usually make it so that either everyone takes an extra feat at character creation for D&D, so that way they can patch that gap a little bit, and I advise them to take like a healer feat or something like that, or I give them a DMPC that does it silently in the background for them, without really interfering otherwise. So I never really prohibit any particular loadouts. I think any sort of thing that I'm not a huge fan of, like the oops all bards or oops all artificers. I feel like that's a little it's not as creative as people think it is. And a lot of people end up stepping on each other's toes or feeling like they're not being original enough, like 1 or 2 episodes in. I think
like a one shot, it might be fun, but like to do a full campaign on it just be terrible. Like I feel like it would definitely be just
challenging.
Like you said, I do think you're right though, and that is you would feel like nobody's getting that opportunity to be very different. Everybody is now stepping into the same step,
Exactly.
So
as far as like a solid mix, I think anything that seems to inherently have conflicting values from the get-go. My most recent campaign that is streamed over on Sundays, actually, I played a cleric of Baal who was a bit of a cultist, kept it under wraps for a while. But in the meantime, almost everyone else in the party were like these goody two-shoes type folks, with a couple exceptions. And, that sort of, I keep coming back to morality and motivations, but anything that has diversity on that front is a lot of fun because then you can just set something in front of them and see how different people react. So I always encourage people to get like weird with how their character wants to behave and wants to accomplish.
Definitely love it. Coming from the cheese professor, how crunchy do you like your magic and spells?
Really crunchy.
Really,
I know I'm in the minority here. I really like crunchy games. I dislike anything that isn't very well defined. That's why D&D is one of my favorites.
Okay.
Short answer, but
No, that makes sense. I mean, I think for a lot of people, you're going to go one way or the other, right? Like it's not going to be there's not going to be one. I'll do both. No. You're either going to be I enjoy the directed forward, or I enjoy something that's a little less defined.
I'm also the type of person who gets really crunchy with everything, though. Like I am ashamed, but also not ashamed to say that I track ammunition and rations and water consumption and things like that in the background for players. So I like the simulation aspect of TTRPGs, so I need the extra rules along with it.
Yeah. So you make your players track your ammunition?
I ask them to. If they slip up every once in a while, I won't bother them. But also, a lot of the games that I run are horror games, and so the reason I do it is
resource management is a requirement for a horror game. Yep.
Yeah, if the town that you're in is getting besieged by monsters and horrifying beings, you're gonna have a supply issue.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, and that's funny because the one that you run for Dress to Quest or whatever was actually one I had an idea for that was a survival style based in Icewind Dale,
which you can do very easy. And I think
you wake up and you guys are basically naked, and you have to go find clothes. You have to find weapons, and everybody's like, "Oh, we all have wooden swords." Well, I'm not proficient with that. Oh well, until you find something you are proficient with, it's out there, and I'll roll on the encounter table. Polar bear comes out of nowhere. What do we do?
Goodness.
Yeah, I think you're right, and I think it's definitely a cool concept. I don't think Icewind Dale the book is built for that, but I do believe there are points in that book that are built for that, which makes it really cool of an idea. Plus, Icewind Dale being a fantasy frozen hell, legit is what this thing is, and you're stuck here. Of course, there's going to be resource degradation because at the beginning everybody's like, oh, we've got some resources, and then as time goes by, which that is a spoiler, is like sooner or later things are going to get worse in Icewind Dale for my players, who one of them is sitting in the audience right now, so that's fine. you learned that. That's all you get, but you learned that. Things will get worse.
It always gets worse before it
gets worse.
There's no spoilers.
Yeah. I mean, not to mention they have this thing to deal with in the near future. So there's that too. So
that's true.
Nice.
Well, so I have another question for you. Is there anything that you add to your campaigns that maybe isn't already there? Like one of my dumb ones is the one that I run is an Elminster's Library Honey, I Shrunk the Kids game.
Wow.
So I took that aspect. Library? Yeah, I took that, and I took the aspect of The Longest Walk, which is a game that came out that I love. And the first thing you notice when you walk into the room is that this bookshelf actually encircles the entire room. And it's slightly tilted, and so everybody's like, oh, well, there's nothing wrong with that. Somebody built their stuff wrong. And it's actually the path that they're supposed to walk up to get to the jewel that they in spot one were trying to steal. And then they all
Oh.
shrunk down. And so I took part of the things in that aspect to actually leave the party out. But like one of the guys goes, "Hey, I want to try and tame this cockroach." He did something that impressed me as a DM. I go, add cockroach handling to your stuff.
Cockroach handling.
That's
to
You
your
now
hilarious.
have proficiency when it comes to that.
Yeah.
One of the people wanted to talk to the ants as a druid, and I was like, "Well, druid speak actually doesn't really cover ants that way. You know, it's animals." And he took the time, wanted to do it, and I was like, "You have now learned ant sign language." So now he on screen will sit
Oh.
there and do
Now
this.
he
like,
can do the
he's
the
talking to the
antennas.
ants, and I'm like, "Oh, I love it."
Yeah.
That's so cute.
Yeah, I think those are fun. Reminds me of Mouse Guard a lot, like the Red
Yeah.
Wall series and things like that. But yeah, the idea of if you're a mouse and you're trying to live in a castle, like what does that look like comparative to an actual castle, like, and all that
Mhm.
fun stuff. Another good question, and this is one that I know I love to find out as well, is what's the most fun, memorable NPC you've created or interacted with in your games?
Ooh, it's hard because I tend to run a lot of like pre-existing modules, so there's very few NPCs that I've fully created.
Ah,
I think if anything, I oh man,
do you have one that you
NPCs that I've run
bring
into.
back consistently, like one
Oh
that you
god, I
stick with?
actually kind of. Well, it's not something I've run yet, but I made a video about it a little while ago. There's some guy who wanders the world in my canon homebrew setting that I've been building for about a decade.
Yeah.
His name is the Admiral. He just calls himself Admiral Mao, and he's shows up absolutely everywhere. He's like the courier in Skyrim, where you exit a location and all of a sudden he's standing in front of you, and you're like, what are you doing here?" And then he's just carries a
Find
little
out it's
cart.
Hermes.
Okay, basically, same vibe. He has this little cart with him, and it's got exactly one item basically hidden behind a curtain, and he always sells it for the same amount. That's obscenely low, but he says it's a magic item of some variety. It's like 5 gold for this. You could see it behind the curtain. It's like a little globe or something like that. Detect magic does say that it's magic, and so it seems to check out. It's just a suspiciously low price. And if you buy this little trinket off of him, he just bids you farewell and then gets out of there. And you see him, maybe a couple months later in the darkest depths of some hole in the middle of some other plane of existence. It's like he shouldn't be here. Something's definitely up. But the magic items themselves are all joke items. It's
Oh, okay.
things like, the classic orb of slope detection, things like that. A ring of detect magic, but it only ever detects itself constantly on repeat. One that I saw on Reddit once was a lycanthrope, which is actually just a string, and it turns into a rope on the full moon. There's like a bunch of joke items like that, and he doesn't tell you what they are. And the thing is, Admiral Mao, I believe if you rearrange the letters, it translates or changes to Oldemara, which is the canonical D&D god of trickery.
Hmm.
So I figured that was fun.
That is neat. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one.
That makes
I always
me
have
feel
an I have an underlord character that's been in like 4 of my campaigns, and he was designed out of the character Red Reddington from Blacklist. Like I just got involved with that series so
Ah.
badly, and I was like, and every
Yeah.
time he shows up, it's like, hey, I'm going to give you something that you need to do to complete something, but I need a little bit while you're out, and it's to mess with, like, to get a little head farther in his own rulings. But he shows up everywhere, and it's never him. It's kind of like he'll send a lackey out to get him. He's like, "Oh, bring them back to this location," and then he'll show up and he'll talk to them and give them what they need, and then send them on their way. And then it'll take forever for them to get something done, and then all of a sudden this character will pop back up, and it's like, "Oh, you finally did what I asked you to do. Okay, cool, thank you. Let me take that from you," and then move on. And he never says why he does it or anything. He just thanks and he keeps going. Like I had one character, they were going into this temple to discover something, and he walked up to one of the characters and he was like, "Hey, I know you're going to be in this area. There's a certain plant that I'm looking for. Can you get me 2 clippings from it and bring it back, and I'll pay you for it?" And literally, it was just when they got back, there was a box laying on there was a chest laying on the ground, or two chests laying on the ground. He said, when you open the left chest, there'll be a key in the chest. Place the plants in the chest, close the chest, then open up the second chest. And there was a trap on it that if you didn't open one chest, close it, and then reopen the next chest, that something was going to happen. He already had it all set up. So, but yeah, it was things like that where he's always around, he's always watching, but it's just not the good way usually. He's not Santa Claus, that's for sure. But yeah. Let's see here. What else we got?
I just need like the cabbage seller guy from Last Airbender.
Yeah, that too. I mean, cabbage. I mean, kind of reminds you of the Admiral, right? Like it's cabbage seller. He just comes out of nowhere. He's like, "Oh, here's cabbage." You know,
always in the way. Yeah,
always in the way. Question from Dungeon Samster: were you a fan of the fidget spinner craze?
No, contrary to popular belief, I don't have ADHD or any fidget necessities, or I guess drives as much as people do. I just kind of hang out. I have this little clicker thing that I got from YouTube at, I think it was ItchCon. I don't really use it. I kept it on my desk just in case. Nah, never much of a fidget spinner.
So I saw one of those at a local convention here, but it's a D20, and man, that thing was so cool. You could sit here and do this thing for all, because every single one of the numbers was their own, like mouse clicker. I was like, this is cool. Dangerous.
I've seen like cubes. I didn't know there's a D20 like that.
Yeah, there's a D20 like that. Yeah, they're a little bigger. It's like this, but yeah, I was just like, I could do that all day long, just out of boredom. Rye Guy 503 says, I've been a fan of Diana for a long while now, and I'm also from Oregon, so seeing someone represent is always great too. If I get a second question, you always get a second question. Anybody that comes in, any questions you ask, we're going to try to answer them within the 30 minutes that we get. What was the toughest moral quandary you've placed in a TTRPG, or you faced in a TTRPG?
Ooh, it's not mine, but my character had to react to it and advise about it. But again, Chains of Asmodeus, the Sunday campaign that I am a guest on, one of the player characters we discovered, spoiler, I guess, a little bit, he had done this thing where he made a deal with Asmodeus. And he was, this grand conqueror. He wanted to continue conquering the world or whatever. Basically like a warlord. And in exchange for his daughter's soul, he was promised power from Asmodeus. And so he ended up killing his daughter himself on her wedding day. And then he justified it at the time by saying, yeah, now I'm going to go back to hell and get her soul back. But he also said it in a way that was more possessive. Like, oh yeah, my daughter's soul is mine. It doesn't belong to Asmodeus. As opposed to like, my daughter needs to live. He definitely saw his daughter as more of an object the whole time, but he was like, oh, well, I can go get her back. So the ends justify the means. And we were all just kind of sitting here like, I mean, if it works, like, I guess, and we're your party members, so we're kind of gonna help you, but also like you have to realize this was a dick move, right?
Yeah,
and he just is impossible to talk to. Yeah. There's no convincing him that what he did was wrong because he just doesn't have a moral compass like that,
Yeah. At first, I thought we were going like a Kratos mentality from God of War, and then it went way south really fast. And I was like, "Oh no!"
Right?
Because like Kratos was very mournful about after he killed his parent or after he killed his family. But like this dude's like, "Nah, not his fault. I'm just gonna go get him back because it's mine." Like, no, that's creepy. Like, I don't like that.
Right?
On a more serious note, this is coming from Dungeon Samster. When you're playing TTRPGs for fun but not for content, you prefer collaborative world building or a GM curated experience?
Ooh, I nowadays prefer more of a GM curated experience, but only because I don't have the time to sit down and do collaborative world building as much as I used to. So I'll build out as much as my player character's background touches. So for example, if I say that my player character was part of a thieves guild, in her childhood, and she had no idea it was a thieves guild until she grew up and found out that she was actually helping these people do terrible things all of this time, then I'll do the courtesy of not making my, GM build all that out. I'll build it out, I'll give it a name, I'll place down the major characters, I'll talk about the hierarchy, and I'll give them that. Same with like their home, world, their home country and society. I'll flesh out anything that I touch, but I don't want to do a lot. I don't have the time to do a lot of the world building outside of that, you know.
Right.
If it gets to the point of building entire religions and gods, I don't know if I can manage that.
Yeah, that'd be a rough one, right? Like, I can manage my god, maybe. Like, I can show you how mine's working, but that's about all I've got.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Do you get an opportunity to play a lot outside of content, or no?
Nowadays I am actually, which is quite
Okay,
nice. I've got 2 home games, I believe, and then the occasional little home one shot. I think I've got one tomorrow actually that I'm going to be
Nice.
dropping in on, and they're always with other content creators too, which is nice
Yeah.
because we all have a very good expectation of how things like session zeros and expectations of the tables should run, and we
Yeah.
usually record them just for our own funsies.
Right.
But yeah, I didn't used to be just a lot of content, but nowadays it's chill to be able to show up in my pajamas, no makeup
Absolutely.
on, and just play.
Yeah, definitely, right? Do you have a home table yet? Do you have like a local group yet?
No,
No.
Bend is. I live in Bend, Oregon. It's a ski town in the winter, and then a like paddleboarding summer sports
Yeah.
in the summer type thing. It's very much outdoorsy, and we have like one game store and one card shop, and that's about the extent of it.
Okay.
So there's not a nerd presence here.
Not
I'm not
a
gonna
nerd
say there
presence.
isn't one. There is some of a nerd presence, and a lot of
Yeah.
people are very curious about it. But no one is gonna come to my house every week and play.
Right. No worries. What moment in any TTRPG last genuinely made you introspective about who you or your character were, either during or after? Wow, that's a tongue twister.
That is a huge question. Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
like about
know
me
if
as
it-
a human being.
Yeah, it says or your character, but like
Gotcha.
it's not an and. Like, man, I don't think I've had an actual moment where I've been like, you know what? I've messed up in life. Like, I don't think I've had that moment yet.
Oh
I
man,
think I might lose myself if
Were
I
you
actually have that
messed up
moment.
in life from a
Yeah,
character?
that's what he's saying. It says, what moment in any TTRPG has genuinely made you introspective about who you were or your character was during or after? Whoa.
I think so. I'm currently working on a character for an as of yet unfilmed actual play with Beyond the Tavern Wall, where it's post-apocalyptic. It's a horror, D&D module that is completely home written, and the character in it is she spent basically the apocalypse, post-apocalyptic. She spent the apocalypse trying to help other people, and then she died. And the entire campaign takes place in this horrifying, not afterlife, but like the soul of what caused the apocalypse. It's like this extraplanar entity that's depicted with a bunch of briars and thorns and tangled up messes. And our party is going to have to try and survive in they call it like the waters of God. It's like this horrifying plane of existence that no one knew
almost
existed.
Like the River Styx type feel.
Yeah, it's very purgatory, and like it. One of the major quandaries that I'm having my character kind of work out with herself is like, oh, have I just been fighting for people to survive in order to die anyway and then fall prey to this? And it's a lot of like introduced hopelessness, which then begs questions about like, okay, well, if the apocalypse actually happened, what would people really live for? So just little thought experience, not so much
waste. Like, was this all a waste for me to do all these things just to put them here anyways? And like, oh,
exactly.
Yeah, that's a rough one.
Yeah.
You have one like that, James?
I mean, we definitely had, and this was when I put my players through, which was a rough one at the time. We did the vampire versus were animal, but we flipped the script on it. So they came into this town and they're stating, the creatures outside the forest are the ones that are, stealing people, terrorizing things and all this stuff. Soon to find out that the actual, the clergy member was actually a vampire, and he was utilizing the church to siphon followers and to make sure that he was staying alive. And the werefolk were actually just trying to survive. So they were utilizing their own being and attacking the town just so that they could get supplies.
Absolutely. I love that sort of stuff.
And one of the cool things about that, which a huge change for me, is I got the ability to honor a player who we had die very early in the game, and bring him in a new light later on, which was cool because he died as a paladin, and then I told him they didn't have nearly enough money to make a resurrection check in the first city that they were in. So he had to roll a d20, and if he got under a 5, he wasn't coming back. 10 to 15 or 5 to 15, something was going to happen, and then anything past 15 to 20, he was good because they put all their money together and everything to bring this guy back, but they still were like 150 gold short, right? So they're like, oh, we have some of these resources, but we don't have everything, so we don't know how this is going to go. He became an Echo Knight, and then when they found the Werefolk, there was a Were-Raven who cast Greater Restoration on him and unlocked those memories from his Paladin, which then he had to play this mysterious version of this Paladin / Echo Knight, kind of combining their stories together. And it's like, oh, this is who I was, this is who I am now, and putting those two things together, which was a really cool experience. And he got to act like crazy person for like one full episode because he was like, do I believe this or do I believe that? And it was a lot of fun.
That's super cool.
Yeah. These are all non-recorded games too. Like these are all home games. Like we played back like years ago. It was awesome.
It's wild how the home games always have like the craziest moments.
Yeah.
Oh,
our home game is nuts. Like
and I think they push you so far too. Home games, because it's not one that you have to.
Oh yeah, I don't have to be on screen. I don't have to worry about anything, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. One that shook me was I had to play a sheriff guy in a town, and you come to find out it was a demon, but the demon was really racist against Beastkin. And so I had to play this character, and one of my best friends was playing one, and so I had to do that, and we got like in a full blown out argument, and like I was like, hey buddy, I gotta walk away. As the DM, I just gotta walk away. And like, because it really like shook me to my core. I was like, all right. And I came back and I was like, all right, I'm glad we finished that, but let's move on.
Goodness.
Yeah. No, and Sam jogged my memory. I was actually, this right here was what jacked me up heavy. So in on our Sunday game, we did World of Darkness. And I was playing a character I was playing a werewolf that was tracking a girl down because he thought she was his daughter. Didn't know anything yet. Come to find out, and this is spoilers if you haven't watched the finale yet. So if you haven't, plug ears, unless you're not going to watch it, which you still should go watch it because it was awesome. Come to find out that his daughter was actually one of 3, and like he was tracking the smell was he was tracking each one of them separately throughout the story. And I was like, holy crap, Sam, like that was so good. Like I didn't expect any of that. It was and I had to watch her die in front of me, not knowing that this was part of it. Like, yeah, it was rough. Ooh. It was a rough one. But yeah, understanding as a father now, it hit harder than it probably would have 10 years ago. Because like watching your daughter die in front of you when you couldn't do anything about it, and especially when you are considered a primal creature who should be able to do anything they have to in order to save the person, and I was still helpless to do it because I was like strapped underneath like silver barbed wire. I couldn't move, and I'm watching this person, and I was like, I was like, just the emotion thought process of it was crushed, but it was good. It was a lot of fun. Yeah, it was rough. So cool. Let's see, what did I miss? Where are we at? Jacob, do you see where we're at? I mean, there's questions just keep piling. I love this.
Oh man.
Yeah. Short answer. Some of them are questions. Some of them I know are answering questions that we had talked about a bit ago, and I'm just trying to make sure we're going back through catching anything. Have you ever played Mage the Ascension? It's an old.
I don't know very much about it, honestly. Again, World of Darkness stuff is so far out of my usual purview, but I've heard of it.
Yeah,
it's great. They haven't remade
Mage,
it or anything.
if you don't like crunchy, or if you like crunchy, don't play mage.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
The idea that mage has a writing, at least it did in the old version, when White Wolf still wrote it. It said, "This is not compatible with any other versions of World of Darkness due to the difference in power." Like a level 1, and I say 1 because they don't really have levels in World of Darkness, but a level 1 mage could almost kill an ancient vampire. You're like, what? Like, because you can do like Mage of Time has full control of time. It's not like you have like little bitsy pieces things. No, it's so detailed. I can pull 30 seconds, or I can pull a minute of time change, or and then as they get stronger, they get farther time. It's so much fun. But yeah, if you're into the whole crunchiness, yeah, it's kind of crunchy, but not in the way that there's rules to the game. The game is definitely not rules heavy when it comes to how magic works specifically.
Gotcha.
Would you ever play in one of those games?
Probably not as a campaign. Probably as a one shot. I can only take the freeform creativity thing so far before I feel just like guilty almost. I have OCPD, obsessive compulsive personality disorder, which is inherently like regimens and rules and things like that are my thing. It's psychologically uncomfortable to have to do games like that, so I try not to very often.
Here's an interesting one then, because what is a best rule of cool moment you have experienced as a game master and a player?
Ooh, this is a problem. Is I'm not a rule of cool GM. I'm a very rules by the rules GM. As a player, I don't know if I know that like, but as a player, I don't do it that much. If anything, the one time that I played,
would that be because it would also affect the whole idea of person? Yeah, that makes sense.
I really just like. I'll even, and this sucks, I'm a rules lawyer at the table, not to an obnoxious level, but to the point where if someone asks a question, I'm always the person with the answer off to the side, and I'm like, oh yeah, you can't do this, or like, oh, you can't do that. If the GM doesn't answer within like a couple of seconds, I usually have an answer. That might just be a side effect of GMing so much, though.
Yeah, I do that for our improv show that they do, because they're like, oh yeah, what is this? You know, what saving throw is it? And if I don't get an answer in like 30 seconds, I'm like, it's wisdom. Like, it just at the top of my head, I'm like, I do this so much, it's not even funny anymore. So yeah, I feel that. I guess the better question would be then is, what is a homebrew rule that you use as a GM that you think is useful?
Ooh, I have a couple actually. I've mentioned before that if we don't have enough party members to complete a full party for a module that I want to run, like if I only have 3 and I need 4, I'll allocate a DMPC that doesn't speak, so they can't interact in social conversations. I wouldn't usually require a full party of people anyway. And they do support stuff. They aren't actually contributing to combat, but they're balancing it out enough. I also give everyone a free common magic item at character creation, because it can contribute to the flavor of them being an adventurer and them being a little bit different than your average, farmer holding a pitchfork. I also, and this is a fun one, I use the D10,000 wild magic table as opposed to the normal wild magic table. This is very Googleable. It's a free PDF online. It's a wild magic table that takes 10,000 potential outcomes for something that could happen if you trigger a wild magic surge. It's called the Net Librum Random Magical Effects Table. It's on version 2 right now. I don't think it's been updated, but quite literally they range from, the target hands rotate by 180 degrees at the wrist to you blow up the moon.
You blow up the moon.
Yeah, there's wild stuff like the nearest horse within a 10-mile radius now hates you and is hunting you for sport. And it's stuff that you might not even find out about until way later. It's so fun.
Oh, I love that. So my other question is, how do you roll on that?
Google. There's no way. Unless you roll like a D10 for every individual digit, but there's...
there's no way. Yeah, that'd be rough. I was like, how do you roll on a D10,000 table? It's like, so my 10, my ones, my tens, hundreds, thousands. It's like what, 7 dice at a time?
Not only that, what would that dice look like?
Oh, just a ball.
It'd just be a giant sphere. Well, I was thinking with percentiles, you have to roll 7 percentiles, but like you would then have to make sure that which one was which color. Like you'd have to make that. Oh, goodness gracious, that'd drive me nuts.
Or have like
Yeah,
a
the D
have
the D
like
one
a-
the D 10,000 roll D 10 or roll / D 10,000 done.
Yeah.
One.
Oh God.
Yeah, I couldn't do any other way to do that as well. That'd be terrible.
line up like a set of dice towers like Powerball.
Oh yeah. Oh man.
That would be funny. Let's see here. Vecna's other hand. No, we're not doing Vecna's other hand. Get out of here, Sam. Let's see here. I'm trying to catch any other questions I missed, or these are all just comments. Diana's character has killed a small country's worth of people, and even she knew that was messed up.
That's in the Chains of Asmodeus campaign. To be fair,
Yeah.
she thought it was normal at the time that she did it because she was raised in a cult. You never know any better.
Yeah. We have kids at our table, and I'm still putting them through stuff like that. It's something I have to watch very carefully. Thankfully, we have parents with them, so like there's a very
Cool.
good like eye to eye moment with if we're going to step down those types of rabbit holes, and it's like, okay, we're gonna step down this story beat. I'm watching both you and your dad sitting right here to make sure either one of you starts freaking out.
Yeah.
You get the nod.
I did okay. To be fair, that was definitely a story beat that I had to be careful with. I did burn a god's hand into my son's face. Yes, absolutely.
Oh goodness.
Yeah.
That's cool though.
Yeah.
Kind of metal.
We play Shadow Dark, so we don't play D&D anymore.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of grittier moments to it, and my son we do a birthday episode, our birthday session, where whoever's birthday is that weekend, we surround that whole story around their character. And my son got this cool
Aw.
X, and then the following session, he had died in combat. So we went back to the same scene that he did during his birthday session, only his god was standing in front of him. And he said, and he's the god of war, and he's the god of battle, and he's the god of the orcs, and all this stuff. So he's surrounded in this giant coliseum. All the orcs are cheering around him, and his god's standing in front of him. He's getting ready to shake his hand and say, "Good and faithful warrior, return to the battle forever here in the arena." And there was a moment where I was like, "Are you going to shake the god's hand?" And he said, "Yes." And he got really excited about it. And I had to remind him that if he shook the god's hand, his character would no longer exist.
Yeah.
And then I watched tears well up in his eyes. And I went, "Okay, you don't have to do that though, but there are consequences." So he had to take a -2 in a character stat, which he took charisma. So instead of grabbing his hand, when he pulled his hand away, the god grabbed his face and burned the scar into his face.
That's a cool way to narrate that though.
Yeah.
Character development.
And then
That's
I always
cool.
tell my players that if something badly happens to them at the end of the session, if you want to, and I took this from Daggerheart, I said, if you want to let the characters go off into the sunset this session, that they're not dead, but they're just going to retire from combat and they're going to live their life as, till their old age and then pass away. You can do
I always
that.
forget that's an option.
You can do that. And he's like, no, I want to avenge my god. Like, I want to avenge my honor. And I was like, oh, that's my boy. So he's walking around with this giant scar in his face for the last like 4 or 5 sessions, which one of our players is in the chat room, plays his brother, who also is a priest of this same god. So he was like, what did you do? Like, this shouldn't be on your face. Like, this is a semblance of like disobedience of the gods. Like, so it went into this whole thing. But yeah, that was what I did
That's
with my
cool.
son. And then my friend's daughter, we went into, because she's playing a cultist character. So we were trying to figure out, and she gave us the backstory. Every character we asked them for like short-term goals, what was their backstories a little bit, and we took based off of what their classes are or their backgrounds were. And she was pulling from ancient magic, so I kind of took a similar pull for the Dragon Prince. So her first, when she looked into a bear, we had a bowl moment where everybody had to look into the bowl, and they got to telememory. Her memory was the first time she had to cast ancient magic, but it was her initiation into the cult. So she had to slay a unicorn in front. And I had to watch those moments where it was like, when does it get too dark and when does it get too dangerous? And we cut it at the right moment, but it was like, those were the things we were connecting with, trying to make sure we didn't hit those lines. So yeah. And these are at my table, like here in my front room. Like these are my friends that I torture, but they still come back every week. So I feel like I've done something right. So
Is
yeah.
it really torture then?
Chuck would say yes, but he likes torture, so it's okay. Let's see here. What we got? Am I missing any? If I haven't, please make sure we do shout out those. We've actually passed our time. I didn't realize it's been a fun, active, happy hour. No worries. But yeah, I think I've caught all the questions. If you have any final questions, the ones you just can't miss asking, make sure you drop those. But otherwise, really quick, Diana, where can they find you?
Oh man, absolutely everywhere. If you're on Twitch right now, that's probably the easiest way to do it. I'm at Diana the Rose on here, where I am a partner, a member of the Twitch Latin Guild, Pride Guild, and Women's Guilds. And then I'm also one of the advisors for the Twitch Tabletop Creator Club as well. So anyone who creates content here on Twitch, whether on someone else's channel as an AP performer or talking about tabletops of any variety, doesn't have to be D&D or like TTRPGs. It could be Magic, it could be Pokemon, anything like that. If you create content like that and you're at least affiliate, you can join the club. And I and myself and a couple other creators help out and provide advisement where needed. Beyond that, I am also on every platform. That means Instagram, TikTok, unfortunately Facebook, fortunately YouTube, all that sort of stuff as at Diana the Rose.
Awesome. And with that, we've got one final question, and I'm going to ask, and then we're going to be done. This will sound confusing. Oh, goodness, here we go. But from a scale of 0 to heck yes, how excited would each of you be to receive a hand-illustrated in-world horror journal about a serial killer that turns people into animals with full diagrams and crunchy spells?
Things that people in a game could reproduce would be kind of cool. It'd be nice little, like, almost like a module.
Yeah, I almost am I'm almost curious, like, is this like a, hey, I'm sending you something? Like, I'm confused on this.
Is this not made of human skin?
Like, yeah.
I'm down.
Like, sure.
It's a cool concept.
It does sound like a cool concept. Yeah,
like
that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking somebody wrote a module book. So if you're asking, like, hey, would we like to review it? Absolutely. Send it over. We'll check it out. I'll torture my players with it. It's awesome. But yeah. Thank you once again for coming over to hang out here at the tavern. And this will be made. We shall see how many copies. Okay, cool.
Oh.
The Cheese Professor.
That's a lot of commitment.
Ooh, yeah.
That's awesome.
Well done.
Rocket.
Good world building.
Do we get cheese?
There has to be a slice of cheese with every copy.
Most horrifying descriptions of how to turn people into animals, and then just like a little slice of sharp cheddar on top.
Yeah, or you could wrap the brie, because you can wrap that in it. Or actually, no, the cheddar's probably better, because you get the sticks of cheddar and just slide it in there. It doesn't go bad, that kind of thing. Brie for all. Brie might melt better. But yeah. Anyways, this is Tavern Talks. This is where we dive down rabbit holes and we have fun with brand new guests every single week, where we talk about tabletop RPGs. And this year, the monsters do attack. Just remember that. But starting tomorrow, we're back to our normal schedule. Beaker builds will continue with some mini painting or model building. And then I think we are still empty for the rest of the month, as both our newest show, Candela Obscura, kicks off next month, and Dress to Quest returns in February. Our live AP cosplay centric Icewind Dale campaign that we are now hitting episode 49. Goodness gracious, it's been a while.
Wow.
As the Chardalyn Dragon continues to destroy the town of 10 towns, which is now I think 7 towns at the moment. If you like this stuff, make sure you hit like, subscribe to all those cool things, either here or when you see it over on YouTube later in this week. Once again, thank you, Diana, for coming to hang out with us. If you haven't checked out their stuff, make sure you check it out inside of the Twitch channel. If not, you'll see a link over on YouTube as well. Until then, everybody raise your glasses. Hi, this is Last Call. We'll see you guys all next week for another wonderful episode of Tavern Talks. Have a good evening. Please stick around while we raid some friends.